So how does it feel to be on a list such as this?
Man, I'm really honored to be on a list. I'll tell you, it's a pretty impressive list, obviously. And when I got the call from Mr. Helton, I was quite shocked and quite surprised and excited all at the same time. So it's a neat deal.
I think it's 7 Roush drivers made the list. What's that say just about the depth of talent at the team?
It's impressive. That's an impressive stat for Jack. Jack brought up a lot of great drivers, and the organization had an ability to pick out talent, and I'm just happy to be part of that. I was excited when I got the opportunity, got hired by them, by Jack, to be, teammates with Mark Martin and Jeff Burton and all that. That was pretty exciting stuff for me. Oh, man, this is a great place. I have 2 favorite racetracks, and that's here in Michigan. Winning here a couple times, and, all those ones that slip away, right? Almost 3, almost 4, almost 5. But just great memories and great hard, close racing. I remember testing here after they just repaved it, being one of the cars that came down and did the tire test. So it's a lot of great memories.
Is Throwback Weekend to teaching the history of the sport?
I think it's really important, and there isn't a racetrack that hosts better than Darlington for that. I think it just wouldn't be the same if it was Martinsville or Charlotte or someplace else. So I think it's fitting. I think it's important to recognize, let's face it, in general, our country is, we don't embrace our history as much as we should, and look at it from all perspectives, good and bad. We learned a lot about, all these racers and what they've done over the years, and what kind of improvements we've had in safety and what kind of improvements we've had in the race cars. It's great to see all that. It's so much fun to look back and think about the stuff we did right when I first came in the sport. The difference between then until 2016 when I stepped away, and then till now, just incredible advancements continue in the sport.
NASCAR is embracing its past next week at North Wilkesboro. I assume that you're excited about that?
I'm really excited about that, and I'll be there. I'm doing part of the broadcast for the truck race, and just looking forward to the weekend. And I think that's important for NASCAR to recognize that and go to those racetracks. I've been a proponent of going to these all these racetracks, and I know it's not popular, but I've always been on the side of let's go everywhere once instead of a dozen racetracks or half a dozen racetracks 2 times. Let's go everywhere one time and experience all those racetracks at least once that are on that list. So I'm glad to see that North Wilkesboro is coming back.
You said you're on the truck broadcast. Any thoughts of potentially being in the truck race yourself?
I've thought about getting back in the truck race and doing some more of that. Certainly that's not out of the question, but you think about your, we as we get older and we start recognizing that we've had, a dozen or more head concussions, you start thinking about, when am I going to have one that's, going to be, altering. So, you think about that, but the racer in you is like, let's get back in there and go for it. But you can blow a right front tire and have something happen. So that's something that's in the back of your mind.
Greg, you said you were surprised, shocked when you got the call about this. Did you not think you had that kind of career, or were you just?
Well, I think, not to, yes, I thought I had that kind of career, and thought, I would be probably on the list, but you never know. You just never know. And so,
So many years,
pleasantly
unparalleled, really. Done in his way.
Significant. It is a significant thing.
They showed us that they shared that portrait that you all took, I guess, a little earlier ago. What is it like to be sitting there with those kind of personalities and drivers?
Can't even explain it.
Yeah.
And what was more fun than that is put us all in a room and give us an hour. the stories are incredible. It's me and Junior and Burton and Kenseth and Carl, and we're all sitting there talking about, and Burton, and we're all sitting there talking about all this stuff we experienced together. It's so much fun to be able to do that, and then be able to spend time and talk with, the Allisons and Herschel McGriff and all the other guys that are there that you didn't get to race with, but you get to enjoy their stories. And it's kind of like they're all chatting about stuff that they did racing together, and you can go over and drift into that conversation and listen to them. It's just, you can't make that up. You can't stage that. You just can't have that.
I guess now there's a different perspective too, since, hey, 20 years ago you come to Darlington, it's like I got to make sure I'm ahead of this guy and this guy and this guy.
Yeah.
And now you're all just kind of in similar situations, just enjoying what you've been able to create here.
Yeah, that it's true. And to reminisce about the past is the most fun.
Yeah.
Matt and Junior are in there laughing about, something else. And of course, Denny Hamlin was there because he was, kind of around for a lot of that. So, it's fun to, listen to them, razz each other about stuff. So it's just a lot of fun now.
Thanks, Greg.
A few of those guys were driving cars that were basically showroom cars, and you yourself now driven the next gen car. Can you compare like the two at all? I mean, how do you think you would perform in those kinds of cars back then?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm old school, new school, right? So I started in the 2000s when there weren't computers and there weren't simulation and there wasn't, you didn't go drive the simulator for 4 days before coming to the track. When I came here for the first time, it's when I drove through the tunnel and went like this, and my first time out on the racetrack was my first time. Well, now we can go sit in the sim for a week, and you come here, you know how to get onto pit road and how to get off pit road and where the bump is going into one. And to be honest with you, from a racer's perspective, I don't like that. I like the clipboard and the 8x11 paper and the driver, right? That's the talent. That's what we want to see, right? And that's just my opinion is, no one ever runs out of gas, right? Because they know the very quarter of a lap when it's going to run out. We'd run out of fuel, because we didn't know when it was going to run out. That's part of the excitement. And it seems like you have less of that type of stuff. The racing's great, but some of that, some of those things that you learn along the way, are more scientific now.
Over half of the drivers that are on the list are also in the Hall of Fame. Does that make you wonder about sometime down the road? Man,
that would be something special to get nominated and be on that list and potentially make it. I hope so, but that's a I'm not going to say that's a tougher list for sure, but it's there's a lot of candidates that are on that list. So hopefully I got my hopes up, but we'll see.
Greg, when you hear North Wilkesboro Speedway, what's the memory that comes to your mind?
I think just watching all these guys that I enjoyed watching, Ernie Irvin, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt, when I was growing up, watching them race. Those are the memories that come to mind. And then I learned a lot about North Wilkesboro from Benny Parsons. That was his neck of the woods. And so I learned a lot about the track, but I never raced there. I've been there, but never got a chance to race there or really experience any of it. Thank you, guys.
This is Harrison Burton, driver the number 21. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, check out one of these two videos beside me. Visit frontstretch.com for more racing content.